25th is the Finance Budget Hearing and Claim, or Finance Budget Claims Audit Committee. And we'll get started. Mr. Miracle, do you want to get us started with monthly reports? We've got no claims, so we can get right into that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Curtin. We were able to send out the end of month reports, and I don't want to steal Sharon's thunder, but I think we've been working on a kind of a one-pager to summarize rather than the, I don't know how many.
84.
Okay. Quite a bit of information for you to go through. So there's going to be a summary, and she showed me what she was working on yesterday. So hopefully that'll be here by the time we meet after our next committee. But everything's going well. No anomalies there that stuck out. All right, pretty good.
If I may just ask a general question about that, so the target is that we're 83% of the way spent. Some are a little above, a little below. Just when is the, let's call it the closeout date, right? Is it December 31st? Is at least like the PO is in, even if the money is spent beyond that? Like, just how do I think about that?
Well, what we do, and we just sent it out recently, we've sent out an email to all the department heads and of course to SSD with the date. We're going to tell them this is the day we're going to close out the purchase order. So we're going to give them plenty of time to do what they have to do. And we tried to make it as late so it wasn't painful for them. Mm-hmm. And so that's, then once we do that, then we start the appropriation process, which Sharon has kind of a running total right now. I know she's been working with Anna Mary on this. In fact, we had a call about a week ago for about an hour and a half going over that. So we hope to have a good jump on that. So close out the POs, then do the appropriations, and that'll all be done before December 31st.
Okay.
So if I remember right from my my last year at the end of this time, we should expect in the last 2 meetings of December several reappropriation.
Yes.
Just to make sure that we are balancing all the funds and making sure everything's taken care of. So.
Correct. And we work hand in hand with the auditor of state. Anna Mary has to approve those before they come to council. So we want to give ourselves enough time to get them to her so she has time to review those. And then we'll get them to council for approval.
Okay. And it is anything that ends up unspent, does that just sort of count toward that carry forward budget for FY26?
That's a good question. Typically, there is some type of carryover. You have POs that might want to carry over. They have to close that out and then do another PO in the next year. I'm not a big fan of that because I think in the world I'm in, we have POs that kind of carry over all the time. But I know that's a requirement that we have to do here. And typically, I think maybe the years past that date was a little sooner, if I remember back in the day. So we're trying to get it so that they can, and then give them plenty of notice so that they can make that purchase, and maybe push them a little bit to say, hey, here's the date. You got to get that done. So I think that's appreciated to give them as much time to do that. So I think we'll be pretty close with the budget estimated numbers.
Great.
Anything else about specific end of month questions? Mr. Bonsall, you just walked in.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have anything to add to that, or should we wait to come back to you?
Yeah. I am good right now. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other updates? You've been talking about Monday.com. I know that's December 1st open update deadline.
Thank you very much. Yes. In fact, that's our goal, start rolling it out. And what we have decided, with the, we have people that are going to be actually, that can view, and people that can do their own reports. council is going to have viewing rights, so we're going to turn that on pretty quickly. We're getting, working to get the report on accounting methods on there, but talking with Sharon and Ariana, who Ariana's doing a wonderful job with this. We've had, I think, 30 hours, almost 30 hours worth of time in Teams calls with Monday.com. So we're going to start with Mr. Powers, and want to make sure that he understands it fully and help to work with him and see if there's any type of reports that he wants to do and let him feel comfortable with that, and then kind of move on from there. So we're going to roll it out, but I think we're going to do it kind of like departmentally, but the city council will have access to that from the time we pretty much turn it on, which we have not done that yet. So, but we do have quite a few things in there already. And I think I may have mentioned this before, but Mr. Moore uses it at his work.
Yeah.
And and he had told us more than once that it was really useful and that they liked it. So we're going to turn it on. You have viewing rights, and then report on accounting methods, and then we're going to get with probably Noah first and all the information he wants to put on there. Our goal is that complete transparency, auditor's office. You can see we want to put everything on there that we're working on and what stage of completion it's in, when's the due date, who's responsible for it, and then you will get emails that tell you, hey, this one's complete, and then you'll get an email from Monday.com that says, hey, this one's done, or this one's still work in progress, or we're behind on it. So I like the ability to. No one has to, look at a spreadsheet and send out an email and I forgot this or whatever. It's all tied together. It's a nice project tool, management tool. But the emails that are disseminated, I think, giving the information to council, I think is going to be very useful for you. So you don't have to ask, hey, what's going on with this?
Yeah.
You can look 24/7. Then when it is done, then you get an email. Or if we're late, you get an email. So we're excited about it, and we're trying to in fact, we sat around Monday. We had a departmental meeting, and we were like, what else can we put on? Some of them might be simple, some of them a little more detailed, like the report on accounting methods. There's 34 of those, so they'll be each one will have their own. That's probably the most difficult one, if I could say that. And when we were working with Anu, our person from Monday.com, she was like, "Yeah, I think we'll help you get this one up and running." And then the other ones should be much easier for us to do. And if there's anything that as finance committee would say, "Hey, I'd like to see this," we can do that as well. We can even put something as simple as, hey, the end of month reports on a timely fashion this month, or the letter that we have on communications, which is one of the 34 report on accounting, believe it or not, is a simple email saying to council that we sent you an email. That was what I like to call low-hanging fruit. We'll check that one on. There are some like that, but I understand. I understand the reasoning for that, because I think she wants to make sure there's not only transparency, but also that the finance team is seeing these and that we talk about it in the finance committee. And I get that. So simple things like that. But I think hopefully by the end of the month, we'll have everybody up and going. So our intention is to talk to department heads, kind of one-on-one, and kind of show them. And I've told Ariana that I'd like for her to come to a meeting and kind of roll it out a little bit. So she's done some really nice things with it. So
She's the student worker.
no, she's the account.
The specialist.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, she's doing a fantastic job. Very bright. picked up on this a lot quicker than I certainly did, but I think once we get these steps that we need, then it will move pretty quickly. So you'll probably be getting some emails here in the next 7 to 10 days, and then you just have access to go in, log on, and then ask as many questions as you like, and we can talk about that. And that could be something else that we add to the finance committee on a monthly basis is, hey, I'd like to see this or whatever. And we'd be glad to show to you from our point of view what we've been working on. So a lot of work on that. That Sharon and Ariana have done the heavy lifting.
Well, I assume we've all signed up for it, but we'll have at least a new member who will need to look into it. And I know you sent it out to everybody on council.
Yes. Yeah.
But I will definitely encourage the newest member of our committee to make sure that they're signed in and watching the viewing rights.
Yeah. Well, all seven council members will have, and they can look at it, and Mr. Gears will also have the viewing rights.
Well, thank you for that, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should we have gotten anything but marketing emails from Monday?
I'm sorry?
Is there anything we should have received about Monday, stuff being in Monday other than marketing emails? That's all I got.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. In fact, I just got one today. But just the invitation. That was the initial email, and then once we flip the switch here, then you will get the email, and then you can have access to it. Go online, look at it anytime you wish.
Yep. And I just confirmed that I'm still in there. Just obviously can't see anything, but I can still get in there. So we're good. I'm really excited for this to be rolled out, and I really appreciate all the hard work that it takes to get this going. It seems so easy on the front end, but on the back end, it's a huge amount of work. And I know that's something that a lot of residents will appreciate too. Just knowing what is going on with Rolston or with Montgomery Road or where they are in the process is really helpful.
Well, that's a great point, because I think this can be useful for all of our departments.
Yeah.
Not only the auditor's appointment, obviously, Mr. Powers, and anything that's going on, you can put on there and kind of watch the progress of it. So it's just something I thought that, as a project management tool, let's put something out there that is useful, that we are going to use, and that can help us to, I love to say the word transparency, but it is, and that's something we value. We want to make sure that everyone can take a look at that and ask questions. We're an open book, but I think you have to have a tool to get there, and I think this is going to be something that hopefully can help us with some of our sustainability going down the road. I know I've talked to Mr. Moore; he uses it where he works, and then I've had a conversation with Sharon yesterday, and she had a friend that she was talking to, and it came up in discussion, and they use it as well. So I think it's used pretty heavily out there. So we're pretty excited.
And I think just for anybody who's paying attention in other regions of the internet, the 34 items specifically on the report on county methods is one of the biggest things we need to check off in order to get the FRP out of our, to get out of financial
Fiscal emergency, yes.
fiscal.
And the other thing too, Mr. Gert, I'm glad you said that, was that I want you to be able to look at that, because there's many of them that are complete, and the last step will be review by the auditor of state. They will come in and make sure that we're still doing what we said we're doing. So we're putting the last date would be when Anna Mary and her team come in here and give us the final blessing. But what we want to do with all 34 of those is that if they are complete, you will see complete for in our mind that we've done everything that they've asked us to do. You'll see that those are completed. So you'll see which ones already complete, which ones we're working on, And then there's a couple that you'll see when you pull it up. It's multiple people working on it. And then there is another aspect of this. Some of these require action by council once they're blessed. So then they'll be coming to you with that to bless those as well.
All right. Well, thanks, sir. All right, anything else for end of the month or standing reports? All right, I'm going to move on to put Mr. Powers on the hot seat for just a moment. If you're following along, we completed our budget hearing the last time that we met it to be was just 2 weeks ago. And so we had our budget hearing. We sat down with multiple stakeholders and kind of hashed over where we're seeing increases and decreases from what we projected from the financial the FRP. And then just let's see, November 21st, a few days ago, Mr. Powers sent out an update on where things are with the budget. I'm not expecting you to go line by line on this, but I just wanted to see if you wanted to chime in and give us an update.
I'll hit some of the real big highlights here. So the biggest adjustment was setting the real number for our health insurance lines. The budget was built in with a 28.5% increase in health insurance, which was the quote that we had at that time. Luckily, thanks to hard work from HUB and our HR department, we were able to bring that down to 16.2%. That resulted in $287,000 in savings. The best part of that is changes 2 through 10 on this memo then still resulted in the current update being $47,000 lower than the initial, even though everything else in there is an increase. So some of the bigger ones we did add in the Norwood Community Television, $24,000, placed that in the Norcom budget. A cybersecurity subscription, that is a 3-year subscription. We received that quote after our previous hearing. We can shrink that down. We can make a smaller payment on that, go year to year. That's going to result in an increase in cost overall for that 3-year period. So it does make sense for us to go ahead and purchase that up front, even though it's a bigger fee now. One of the items we talked about quite a bit was adding funding to the senior center for activities. Discussed that with staff. Their request was to do $5,000 of an increase instead of $10,000. The senior center staff and rec director Gabbard do feel very strongly that bringing in sponsors for the different lunches and the different events is a community building activity in and of itself. So they are very adamant about continuing that. Although, some additional help in the budget would be beneficial in case businesses and individuals fall on hard times, and we do need to supplement that more ourselves. So that's where we landed on that. Increase the O2 Street Fund, $833,000 for capital expenditures. Added $1,500 for council outreach efforts. Community development personnel lines were adjusted based on actual benefit enrollments. The urban forestry grant, in order to place that in, because that is a reimbursement method, we kind of doubled that up on the baseball grant match, so that we know we've got the urban forestry funds to do early in the year. We can start working on that. If we're able to find a grant match for doing the lights, we should have that funding back in at that point. Public lands and buildings, we did increase strategic property acquisitions from $400,000 to $500,000 based on some current events. And then some leave buyout funding was placed in here to hopefully reduce some personnel leave that is potential in future years that we can maybe buy down now.
All right. It's a lot to take in, but it all seems like very reasonable step. I appreciate the rec center for not just taking money and, we're talking, $5,000 is a small amount in comparison to the other, numbers you gave. But I think it speaks to how frugal our departments are, and they're not, blowing money for the fun of it. Any other comments? I'm fusing a few more comments myself, but anything else to respond to Mr. Moore or Mr. Powers?
Yeah. First of all, like, just thank you. It's really exciting to, one, to see the budget in this good a shape. I think this far ahead is really exciting. And then to just have the process that we've had and see these little iterative kind of things, because so many of the big rocks are in place. We're just kind of figuring out those little last details is great. So overall, I feel great about it. Just a couple like super like minor questions. So in some cases, like, and Mr. Miracle, this one will actually be for you. In some cases where it says like, like law and it's personnel services, contractual services, et cetera. In some cases they're like, more itemized of like, it's, $5,000 for this subscription or like $10,000 for that subscription. I guess what I was wondering on like the auditor contractual services is that where like Monday lives or like VIP lives? They're all in that
Right, and also,
bucket.
the auditor state, I think it's $65,000.
Yeah, the state examiner fees.
Yeah, state examiner fees and things. But
Gotcha.
and one of the things we've talked about in the auditor's office, and we kind of noticed this a little bit on like the Ohio checkbook, which is on the website. But I think we've had some discussions about maybe a little more detail and description than we have now. So that's kind of still in the discussion stage. So we've talked about that, but to answer your question, that's exactly where those things look.
Okay, got it. Again, I mean, I'm a little more familiar with your, let's call it like technology stack, relative to maybe treasurer or, other offices, but I was just curious. For Mr. Powers, I know that the O2 Streets Funds kind of got its own revenue coming in and its own sort of, it's kind of protected in that way. But even still, I did scratch my head a little bit about like, just increased it $833,000. I was just wondering if you could say more about that.
I just increased that based on council's request to increase it.
Okay. How does that work?
There are funds in there available for the increase, so it's just about setting that appropriation amount.
Got it. Okay.
If
So the
council-
fund has more.
There's more
So you
dollars.
basically just chose to apply more
Yeah, that's correct.
than previously. Okay, got it. And then just my last question would be relative to that 47K that essentially we are now that's now up for grabs, if you will. I don't know if that's a fair way to say it, but that has come loose as a result of this last round of revisions. I wonder if there is a thought about whether or not we're just going to sort of keep that off the table, if there's a different area that might be targeted, to increase with that 47,000 just open-ended.
I wouldn't look at it that way. The initial dollar figure that the first draft came in is just where it came in. So getting this to go back up to that level isn't necessarily something I would advocate. We worked really hard to kind of dial in what those priorities are, and I feel good about where this budget is at this point. So, if the question is, are there things that we said weren't a priority that we could go back and increase? Yeah, there are. But they weren't a big enough priority to put them in the initial draft.
Got it. Okay.
Mr. Moore?
If I could, I'm just curious, because things come up, the question of, there's always things, whatever it is. But we need another 30,000, we need another 50, whatever it is. Is there, and I'm not sure what the discussion has been on having a reserve for contingency funds, so that we don't have to, so we have something to pull something from and just change the appropriations and not have to go back to the fiscal advisory board. Whenever we need to, we need to apply for an extra $15,000 on something that we don't. That we get our certificate of estimated resources, but isn't budgeted. And I don't know what if there's room for
There would be. It would be a little bit difficult for how you place that the way that our funds are structured. So, there's not really just a whole city fund that we could put that in. So we would, I think, need to probably create a new fund in there, but I think that's something that we could do. Now, we typically try to build in each departmental budget so that, the amounts for items are either known. If we have a specific contract, we budget in that amount. But then we do try to be, fairly cognizant of budgeting in for some of those unknown things. One thing that we've done is we've added funds into the Public Works Garage Fund for vehicle maintenance. So in years past, we would have an issue where, say, the police department would have a cruiser that broke down. Well, they didn't have any more in their budget. So now we have that in that garage fund that is a little bit left over. So if one of the departments doesn't have enough money for vehicle maintenance, there's some in there. So we've done some little things like that.
When I was first on council, it was a whole separate team.
It's probably still in there then.
So that's just something, it's a possibility. The other alternatives to what we're talking about is just, the most we've ever spent on, police equipment is this. And so we probably won't get that. But it's things that, if the boiler goes out or if an ambulance crashes, you're going to need a chunk of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense to have contingency, yeah. So, yeah, I'm really happy to see the budget where it is. Obviously, there's always stuff where it's like, oh, if we only had more money, but I'm glad to have so much information so early compared to previous years with the budget.
And to go back in history a little bit, it sounds like the amount that we increased the HR director's salary has kind of paid off in our hard work and reducing our healthcare costs.
Oh, it has.
Yeah,
I would say substantially so.
yes. That's why investing early in stuff gives you dividends in the end.
Speaking of salaries, Mr. Moore, something that came up, a question was, are we doing any kind of planning for Mr. Gary's retirement? Is your office set on, do you need to hire somebody before he retires to transition or?
And actually, I spoke with Mr. Powers, because he was putting the final numbers in my first draft to say that, yeah, I'd like to have an overlap period, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Because there's a lot.
Yeah.
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 There's only, I hate to even think about all the things that might fall.
Yes.
Mr. Gary is a huge asset to our city, and I wonder if we're even going to be able to replace him under that salary. It's another question for another meeting, I guess.
Yes.
We are just after 7. Do we have anything else for the good of the order that needs to be addressed?
I do have one quick
Yes, sir.
question for Finance Committee. Next Monday, December 1st, I was wondering if someone from the Finance Committee would like to sit in on the SSI VIP. We have about an hour meeting. We want to talk about workflow, talk about VIP analytics. That's where we're going to put the budget. So we have gotten some time from SSI VIP, which we're not paying for, which that's always the best time.
Do you know the time?
Noon to 1.
Anybody passionate about being there? I could make that time, but if you're checking your calendar, I'll wait. Or I guess
I'm looking right
more than
now.
one person could be there.
2 of us could be there, right? Yeah. I'm a maybe. It just depends on what I get done tomorrow, basically, since I'm off Thursday and Friday. There's some stuff I need to do out in the field, but yeah, I'm going to put myself down as a maybe.
It's an open invitation.
Yeah.
Noon to 1, Monday, December 1st. Just let me know.
Yep. I put it in my calendar just in case. And once it gets closer, I can reach out to you guys and say, hey, I can't make it, or hey, I think I will.
Yeah, I would categorize myself as a maybe, just because I have something at 1. It's a hard stop for me to be back at work. So
I will
I don't
put her
feel
down
great
on
about
my
it.
calendar as a yes, and then if one of you two could join in.
Thank you.
Or
Yeah.
if you have the ability to. All right. Mr. Ronson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my question is around appropriations for 2026. Do we know how much they're going to let us appropriate based on the current plan today? I don't know if you, or like in some years they've let us do like 25%. I think some years they've done, I don't know if they've ever let us actually appropriate based on the 26 numbers in our current plan, but do we know kind of where the appropriations ordinance is going to be when they bring it to council before the end of the year?
No,
Okay, so then that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Just wanted to check. I mean, it's quite cumbersome to, I mean, my office is fine, but it's quite cumbersome to the city for the appropriations ordinance. I don't know what it's going to look like, but to only be 25% of what's in the plan, basically. In the past, they've reduced, I don't know if is it 25 or 33? I don't know what it was, but basically it means that the city really can't do hardly any of the plans or planning for what they want to do that year, even based on the previous year's plan for what it had for 26, right? Just basically year 2 of the financial recovery plan. So my recommendation is just to, if we haven't had the conversation yet, like if at all possible, at least get half the appropriations of what's in the plan, like for your all's ordinance that you'll approve before the end of the year, because yeah, like I said, we'll approve a new plan in April or such, but it's just difficult for like police, fire, everybody else to be planning like the different things that they have to do throughout the year and not have the appropriations if there's a bigger item. So I could be wrong. I mean, I might be speaking out of turn, Mr. Powers, but just from my recollection from the past. So,
well, Mr. Boswell, Anna Mary will be reviewing those appropriations, and we can certainly ask that question.
but when you say that she'll be reviewing, so who have you all even discussed? Have you all talked about it at all about when you're going to get? So I guess I would just say is like I would start with 50%, or I don't know, or start with the whole thing. I mean, frankly, like whatever, year 2 of the financial recovery plan. I mean, whatever that, whatever it says for that. But we know there's going to be changes in April, like basically based on exactly what we're talking about right now. But or if they let you all appropriate based on the budget hearing thing, I mean, that's even better. I just don't know where they're going to hit with that. But I just wouldn't want to see us like, in April, just we're going to miss projects this year because we don't have appropriations to start bidding or to do whatever else we have to do.
Our goal is before, we want to certainly move that up. I think last year was April 21st, so that was probably the latest deadline. So ideally, to move that up sooner. But those are very valid points.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order? All right. I'm happy that the heavy lifting has been done for the Finance Committee for the next little bit. So this was an easy meeting, and I appreciate everybody's hard work. I will adjourn.
Great.